There's a wise saying that goes, be careful what you wish for. We're here today to talk about, and of course, shouts out to all of the women who are traditional minded. All of the women, and which I'm seeing the trend is now mainly young women, who are determined within themselves to be traditional housewives. It's very interesting. But yeah, special shouts out to these women. I'm going to start this video with two scriptures. Well, over the course of the whole video, two, but one I'm going to share now because I think it's very fitting for the discussion we're about to have because it reveals something about society. So this is coming from chapter Timothy 1, 1 Timothy chapter 2:12, wherein it reads, Paul, of course, reads here in reference to the church of his time. It reads, I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must remain quiet. So, a couple of questions about this, right? Is this sexism? According to today's definition of sexism, is this in fact sexist? And of course, the answer to that is clearly yes. Clearly, it is sexist, right? But it also reveals something. It reveals that there was, at that time period, a, a segment of society wherein women wanted to have a level of authority over men. There was a push in that society to get men and women to basically do the same things. But Paul, okay, under inspiration of the Holy Spirit of God, was careful in taking care of the church to say, no, he doesn't permit this. Meaning the men of that day would not allow for such ideology to come over their society, in this context, the church. Meaning what? Meaning that there are natural consequences to certain actions. So, have men allowed women to create this thing that we're calling 50-50 relationships? Let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about this for a second. So, when you look in the 1950s, and again, this is the world in which our grandparents, some of us, our parents grew up in, right? Some of us, our great grandparents, okay? Uh, they grew up in. They grew up in a society where it was very uncommon for there to be a 50-50 relationship. It was essentially 100-100, okay? A traditional, if you will. And in this setting, when you look in the 1950s, you see that Black communities, Black American communities, I can't stand when people say people of color. There's a lot of people of color, okay? But I'm talking about Black Americans, okay? Because again, I'm Black American. When you look at the Black American community in the 1950s, but when you look across the board at American society in general, but specifically we're talking about the Black American community at this moment, you see that the Black American marriage rate was higher than the marriage rate of white women, white American women, meaning that on average, a higher percentage of Black American women were married than white American women. And you see that the divorce rate across all genders in America was under 20%, 1950s. Fast forward to the 1970s, 1980s, the divorce rate had more than doubled. And by this time and moving into the future, you see that Black American women are now the least married demographic of women. And I believe that the politics, because this is what people don't realize, right? Politics plays a huge role in every element of society. People don't realize the weight and the actual influence of politics because politics determine culture. And culture determines the actions of everyday people, the attitudes, the thoughts that cross the minds of people, and the actions that they take as a result of that. right? Okay, so divorce rate doubles, more single women. The question becomes, what happened between the 1950s and the 1970s that may have contributed to some of these things? Obviously, you got the civil rights movement, you got the women's rights movement, etc. The rise of this feminist ideology wherein women felt that they needed to deliver themselves from the oppression of men, that they wanted to enter into the workplace amongst men whose job it had always been to provide so that they can make their money as well too. Okay, phenomenal, right? So what happens as a result of this? Well, the banks, what do banks do? Banks are sitting back doing this because now the American household is bringing in more money. So that means I can charge you more now for what you need from me so that you can live your American dream. So the price of everyday goods goes up, the price of homes go up, the cost of living goes up tremendously. So now we get to where we are today, 2000s, 2020s, 2010s, etc. And women of today's world or people of today's world say things like, well, you need two incomes. You need two incomes. I'm gonna make a wild statement right here. Okay. I believe personally that the majority of men would absolutely love to have a traditional, loving, supportive housewife at home. Traditional. Some people think that's a wild statement. I believe the majority of men would love that. What does that take? It takes two to tango. Do we believe that the majority of American women are prepared to be traditional housewives in today's modern society? In today's modern society? Well, to answer that question thoroughly, we have to examine the average American man because we're dealing with the law of averages here. We're dealing with averages. The average American man is making about $55,000 a year, give or take. That would mean that the total household income would be about $55,000 a year. $60,000 a year, $65,000 a year. Maybe he's really getting it. He's really motivated. So he's somewhere near the top of the average, making about $80,000 a year. $80,000 a year. So could a man making $80,000 a year afford a typical three-bedroom, two-bath house to raise a family in? Like what type of lifestyle would an American family making who has a household income of $80,000 live? I think it's a very, and I would say the answer is a very average lifestyle, a very average lifestyle. You might not be able to afford to put all your kids in private school. You're not going to be able to afford to buy the latest Mercedes. You're in a black community. You're not going to be able to afford the latest bag, the latest red bottoms, and the Gucci and all this other crap that keep black folk broke and divided. Okay. Oh, they don't like that one. They don't like that one. No, hyper materialism is the path to your destruction. If we're gonna keep it real, and it's one of the biggest problems in the black community, but I don't want to go down that path too far. Uh, they're going to be affording a lot of average things. They're not going to be able to do too much. You're not going to be able to go out to five-star fancy restaurants two, three times a month. You're not going to be able to afford expensive vacations and travel the world. You're going to live an average life. And the question is, are the majority of women signing up for that? Of course they're not. We know they're not. Meaning what? That to most American women, there are conditions to them being traditional women. See, when we have the conversation, if we're going to keep it on the surface level, it can be all fine and funny and dandy and entertainment, haha, hoo, he's, right? All the giggles and laughs, the entertainment. But if we're going to have a real conversation, we got to peel the onion back. We have to peel the onion back. This is one of the things I loved about the late, great And again, I didn't like everything that Kevin Samuel stood for, but one of the things that I felt he was so impactful with was his ability to expose the mentalities of many modern people, men and women. And we got a chance to see the folly and the foolishness, the reasoning that just doesn't make sense amongst a lot of women, if we're gonna just keep it real. Okay. Women coming on the show talking about they expect their man to make 300K. Honey, boo boo. Do you know what percentage of man, irrespective of race, make $300,000 a year? Oh, so let's get into that briefly. Because we got to understand when we talk about traditionalism, what type of expectations come with that. So if men, let's say black men, it's being communicated to us as black men that our women, for to get them into traditional relationships, most of our women are requiring that you make $300,000 a year. Most of y'all men gonna die single. 99 out of 100 men, 98, 97 out of 100 men gonna die completely single because you simply can't afford that. These guys will never make 300,000 a year. So we lower the bar to a little bit, something more reasonable, $150,000 a year. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Certain positions pay that. You get you a position, you get you a hustle, you get you a couple things going on. Okay, bam, there you are, Daddy-O. Roughly, approximately 8% of black men make over $100,000 a year. Contrary to popular belief, black women have never in any year out earned on average black American men. It's just a nugget for you to chew on. But salutes to black women, of course. So with that being said, you enter into that threshold, right? What are you going to come across? What are your prospects? What is it that you get? Here's the question. What did your grandfather get in covering all the bills for the household? Well, in most instances, your grandfather got a housewife, a woman who is willing and ready to play her traditional role, meaning she's prepared to cook, she's prepared to clean, she's prepared to do housework, she's prepared to do things that need to be done around the house. She's prepared to rear you children if when y'all get married, and she's not coming with a lot of baggage, right? But what are men today getting? What are men today getting? Are they getting that? It's just a question. Are men getting that? I think a lot of women, and where this conversation really goes south, is when women want a traditional man while they continue to be a quote unquote modern woman. Meaning what? Meaning you want a man to pay to date you while you simultaneously do nothing to take care of the basic needs of that man. And when I say basic needs of that man, see, women, some people mind go automatically to the far left. And I don't mean the left politically. I mean your mind go to a place it shouldn't go. I'm not talking about nothing sexual. What do you bring to that man's life that can make his life better? The word of God called Eve a help meet for Adam. Meaning Adam was doing the will of God, or at least he was supposed to be. And that woman was designed to come in and add to that and help that man with his basic needs. Are women prepared to do that? Or are they going to hold on to the independent woman philosophy, wherein she wants to be a boss babe? She wants to still work in corporate America. She wants to spend all of her time, a lot of her time, majority of her time, doing her own thing with her business, while you simultaneously pay for her bills. You meet her, she's got a card note. She wants you to put some money on that. You meet her, she's got a mortgage. She wants you to put some money on that. You meet her, she got a phone bill. She wants you to put some money on that. You meet her, she got nails done, hair done, everything did, and she wants you to put the money on that. Family, we are borderline dealing with an escort. Oh, you didn't like that, but that's basically what we're talking about in today's modern world. Today's modern world is not about traditionalism. Women are lying to themselves. It's saying that they want a traditional relationship when really they want to be a borderline escort. You're looking for, you want to be an escort to one or two men who are paying for your time. See, and it's crazy because there are so many men. This is what's messing the game up. And again, this is why I say men have allowed women to do all these things that are absolutely destroying society. There are men who support women in the pursuit of that lifestyle. The super simp, right? The super clown. You don't demand nothing in return of that woman. She might break you off. She might break you off some sex every whatever, now and again, few days. You cover some bills, she gonna break you off. You a trick. You are a trick. So men back in the day got a housewife. These men today is getting the modern women. Now, do ladies think that men are stupid? Like, do women think that men are dumb? Obviously, men are not dumb, especially men who are making money. They're not stupid. So these deals, these transactions, this deal needs to make sense. It needs to make sense. And for a lot of men, the deal don't make sense. The juice ain't worth the squeeze. So it's up to women to make the deal make sense for the man. But that would require women to not be selfish, and it would require women to think about what is valuable to that man, what that man needs. Because that is at the heart of being a traditional woman. The heart of being a traditional woman, in my opinion, is like nurturing, loving, supporting. It don't involve making money. It involves being a feminine presence in the life of a man and a household, which require genuine love for that man, genuine like respect, genuine admiration. But everything now has been reduced to a dollar bill. Everybody's selling out for a dollar bill. Women sell themselves for a dollar bill. And so in that framework, men are only as good as what they can provide. Men are only as good as the resource that they provide. And I believe that racism actually has a lot to do with this as well, too. Because in our modern world, whether people want to admit it or not, race is currency. Race can be valued in society as currency. Therefore, when you hear black men say things like, damn, a brother got to do X, Y, Z the third, a brother got to be way the hell up here, a brother got to go through all types of hoops and everything else. But this white dude only got to show up. Why? Because there's a social currency related to race. So again, men are reduced to these things in a framework where money become the god, if you will, of people. I'm gonna close this video out with a scripture that I love. This is Proverbs chapter 6. And if you turn the video, if you're not still watching, you're gonna miss a nugget here, man, because this is classic. Okay. I want to make something abundantly clear. And the reason I'm covering this is because I know that there are also men who are lazy. There are men who just don't want to get up off their behinds and they don't want to do what they're supposed to do. And I'm not going to end this video letting these men off the hook. They thought it was going to be all about me getting on women. No. Okay. This is coming from Proverbs chapter 6. I'm talking about the book of wisdom. We're going to start in verse 3. We're going to read a few verses and we're going to get out of here. It's one of my favorite scriptures right here. It says, do this now, my son, and deliver thyself. When thou come into the hand of thy friend, go, humble thyself and make sure thy friend, right? Make sure of your friend. It says, verse 4, do not give to thine eyes sleep, nor slumber to thy eyelids. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. Meaning in life, there's going to be traps. You have to deliver yourself from these diligently. Verse 6, observe the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer and grabbeth her food in the harvest, meaning get it while the getting is good. Okay, observe the ant, thou sluggard. Ants ain't known for laziness, I'll tell you that much. And be wise. All right, verse 8. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands, so shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man. My sincere request and desire for all of y'all is that you don't fall into a path of poverty, that you are able to be a man who can be a traditional man, that you might take care of your wife, your household, your kids, and have your whole people, your whole family in respect of you. And in order to do that, family, you're going to have to give. You have to sacrifice. You have to work and make things happen for your family. You know, we have to give, and I believe that we as men have to give women something to submit to. A man's leadership, although of course it should involve instruction and wisdom and guidance. We're talking non-monetary things. A man's provision should also definitely include, and quite naturally include, actual provision, money. So to go get it, you got to go get it. To get it, to have it, you got to get it. Meaning you got to get up off your behind and go get you go get you what you need, man, for your family, for your future. And my sincere hope is that you find a woman who is, ready to walk in that traditional role. And I believe this is the will, of the Almighty for your life, man. Hey, I would love to hear y'all comments below. Ladies, what do y'all think? Do y'all believe that men have allowed y'all to ruin traditional relationships? We're going to see. Like, share, subscribe, fam. Comment below. Tell me what y'all think. Till we chat again, I am out.